Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Studios here, and welcome back to another movie review. And in this movie review, we're going back to my James Cameron movie review marathon leading up to Avatar: The Way of Water. And this is the review that you've all been waiting for because this is the fan favorite James Cameron movie. A lot of people say this is his best film, and a lot of people are saying in the comments that they are so excited for me to talk about this movie. And yeah, so this movie I'm reviewing is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So Terminator 2 Judgment Day came out in 1991, the same year as The Beauty and the Beast and The Silence of the Lambs. Is directed by, well, you know who. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Edward Furlong, Robert Patrick, and some other big cast. And basically tells the story of taking place years after the first film. John Connor's already born, and he's actually a little older now. He's a kid who actually knows what he's doing, but then like he's at 10 years old technically. The Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator, who was pretty much the same Terminator as the villain, identical to the villain in the first movie. He now becomes a hero, and he must protect Sarah Connor's son John Connor from being from another cyborg who's more powerful. And well, of course, since the first movie, the Terminator is still trying to prevent John Connor from leading humanity. Only difference in the first movie, they didn't want him born, but in the second movie they want him actually dead, while he's like 10 years old. So yeah, like what I said, Terminator Judgment Day is probably like the most praised of James Cameron's movies. Out of all his movies, sure, it didn't make $1 billion at the box office. I mean, because let's be real. If this movie came out in the modern era, in the 2000s or something, I'm sure it would make a lot more money. But yeah, this movie literally but yeah, I mean, I remember like my dad told me about this movie, saying it's the best one, and then he showed me the movie and I fell in love with it then. And out of all the James Cameron movies, this is the one I went back to the most. Like, I mean, I rewatched the movie so many times, and yeah, I mean, this is like it's just so rewatchable. And this movie is actually on HBO Max, and this is the only Cameron movie on that streaming platform, and one of the only James Cameron movies to be in the streaming service with this and Avatar. I think there are other James Cameron movies in streaming services, but I just didn't really pay attention to those. But yeah, rewatching Terminator to Judgment Day, does this movie hold up? Abso-freaking-lutely. This movie holds up 1,000,000%. I mean, this is often regarded as one of the greatest sequels of all time, and I can totally see why. Because this is such an iconic movie. I mean, it's just so iconic, and it's such a classic. And this movie just absolutely hits all the right notes. And if anyone calls it their favorite movie of all time, I can totally see where they're coming from, because this movie really is a miracle. Now, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's like top 10 best movies of all time. I think there are better movies out there, but top 50, hell yes. And I would say that, and I think I gotta say some. This is I'm not. I was gonna say this. I'm not sure this is the best movie of the '90s. I do think The Lion King is the best, but maybe this is probably now my second favorite of the movie of the '90s. Second only to The Lion King. Yeah. But yeah, there's like so much to love about Terminator: The Judgment Day. I think this is a perfect movie. I mean, this movie does everything. And I mean, everything better than the first one. Don't get me wrong. The Terminator One, the first movie, is very underappreciated. It's a film that no one really talks about anymore. No one has been giving it any recognition. And I think it's because Terminator 2 was overshadowed the first movie. Even though the first movie does have a higher rating than the second one on Rotten Tomatoes, but yeah, but to me, I can't think of anything that the first Terminator does better than the first movie. It's more brutal, I guess. The first movie is a little more brutal than this one, but I guess that's it. I mean, where do I even start with this? First of all, I I mean, you all know that James Cameron knows how to do blockbusters, and yes, this is the James Cameron's the best movie yet. I mean, sure, I mean, I adore Avatar and Titanic, but Terminator Judgment Day is pretty much the pinnacle of his movies. Yeah, I mean, this solidifies him as like one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, and maybe he could even dethrone Christopher Nolan as my second favorite director of all time. Well, Chris Buck definitely no one can top him in my opinion, but like James Cameron could actually top Nolan, or well, we'll see. But I think I'm liking him. I'm liking him more than Spielberg now. I will say. Yeah. And this is easily the best movie in 1991. I mean, we got Silence of the Lambs and Beauty and the Beast, which are two Best Picture nominees. But what a shame this movie got and yes, Silence of the Lambs won, but what a freaking shame this movie got snubbed for Best Picture. I mean, of course, at least it won Oscars, but for it to get snubbed for Best um picture is a crime. Like one of the worst Oscar snubs. I mean, this is pretty much my Best Picture winner of that same year. Sorry, Silence of the Lambs and Beauty and the Beast, but Terminator. Yeah, I mean, first of all, y'all know that action is my favorite genre. I said this many times. And this one is pretty much because widely considered as the best action movie ever made. I wouldn't go that far, but like yeah, I mean, you can clearly see. I mean, this is some of the best effort put into action. I mean, you can tell that this movie isn't the CGI. I mean, it's practically done. I mean the stunt work in this movie are absolutely insane. You got so many iconic shots as well. Like the truck chase scene where like the villains the villain's truck like pretty much blows up, and then you see like the shot of the motorcycle. That's pretty much like um with everything about Terminator the Judgment Day, the first thing that comes into your head is that scene, that like the motorcycle and the truck exploding scene. And because that scene is just really iconic. And yeah, and also you also got like the helicopter chase. You got the final battle. You got like so many action scenes in here. It's insane. And man, the score is absolutely memorable as well. Like I have the scores like playing in my head right now as I'm working on this review. It's just so so memorable. Like the score is pretty much the least talked about in this movie. Like not many people don't talk about the score. I mean, I love the score personally. It's just so good, man. I mean, and okay, and yes, you got some action scenes that done to perfection with some of the best stunts ever put to film, like, and some of the best practical effects. And not trying to overuse CGI, but how is the actual How is the quality in this? Like, besides the action, how yeah, I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. I think technical wise, I mean, visuals and the cinematography perfect. James Cameron is a directing style in this. It's just so present in this. Like, I mean, this movie screams James Cameron. Even if I think Avatar screams his name the most. In my opinion. Yes, I'm still a defender of Avatar. But yeah, on a quality standpoint, this movie is still perfect. I mean, there's not a single thing I would change in this. It's just perfect. I mean, this movie isn't just all action and spectacle. This movie actually does tell a story, give a message, well of course without preaching it, and actually giving time for its characters, and giving time to actually breathe. There's a lot of breathing scenes in here. Um yeah, I mean the performance is absolutely amazing. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger's best performance yet. There's no doubt, and this is the movie that made him absolutely famous. This is the movie that made the Arnold Schwarzenegger absolutely recognized by, and he's pretty much and even if Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't have a lot of good roles nowadays. I do think that he's still like a considered iconic. I mean, if there's any like movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger starring in it, that people will just like go and rush to it because he's just so good. And Linda Hamilton, what an amazing performance she's given. Like, also her best performance and way better than she was in Terminator Dark Fate, which yeah, we don't speak of Dark Fate. How dare they? And Yeah, and yeah, of course, Edward Furlong. John Connor is my personal favorite character in the movie. Yeah. I'll never forgive Dark Fate for killing him off. That like literally right at the beginning. I mean, if you kill John Connor off in the end, I think it will make a lot more sense. But killing off in the beginning, you've just ruined the movie. But yeah, John Connor is my favorite character. I mean, he's just so relatable. I mean, to me, like he's so relatable. I mean, I don't want to get too much explained, but I'll just say he. I mean, like him, I'm pretty much like I like to be a leader. Sometimes I just don't realize it at first. Like I was like, oh, I don't want to lead anything. I just want to be a member. But then later on, I realized that I actually do have the skills of leadership. Even if sometimes, even if it means leading one person who's older than me, or at least one who's younger. Yeah, John Connor just I really connect with him. I really resonate with him, and I see myself in him. Like one of the most relatable characters ever. And then there is Sarah Connor, who is easily easily top 10 best moms. I mean, yes. I think it's what I think. Yeah, Sarah Connor is also a character you feel bad for. I mean, I wish. Sarah Connor is a little bit tied with John Connor is my favorite character in the movie, but I think John Connor I resonate with him a little more. But Sarah Connor, just wow. I mean, also like one thing I love about this movie is that well, of course you know the T 1000 and the T 800, the T 1000, and all the characters amazing. But let's talk about the writing. Like, how's the story? I mean, I would admit that the story is kind of the same as the first movie. I mean, that but I mean, I think this one did it better. I mean, just because the story is like a familiar to you, that doesn't mean it's automatically bad. I hear people complain that criticize Avatar: The Way of Water for being like the same as the first film, even if it's early screeners or like people like noticing it from the trailer. Like it does look sound very similar to the first movie, but sorry, it's yawn. But yeah, James Cameron really knows how to make a sequel better than the first movie. I mean, you got it shows in Aliens where like I mean, it does take a lot of elements from the first movie, but first Alien, but like James Cameron was able to take someone else's sequel and actually make it better than the first. And then we got this one. Noticeably, yes, Terminator 2 Judgment Day is kind of the same as the first movie. I mean, like Terminator being like a hero coming to save the, to save a character from being targeted to being hunted by an evil Terminator. First it was Sarkon in the first movie. Now it's her son John Connor. I mean, there's a lot of parallels with the original, the first film, but I think this one actually works better for me. This one did better because unlike the first one, it's actually more complex and actually dives into deeper themes. I mean, it's all about paranoia and anxiety. I mean, you see that with Sarah Connor when she's very anxious about the Terminator's return. Yeah, because that she knows that the Terminator is coming after her son, and then no one really believed her. But I mean, Sarah Connor was just she was really angry, like she was mentally insane. Like this movie also tackles mental illness as well. I mean, can you imagine these like how deep it is? I mean, the movie tackles anxiety and mental illness. Like this movie shows that Sarah Connor's a dark side as and man, I think the writing of her is just so good. And that's pretty much what I hear about Avatar: The Way of Water. They say that the people who praise the movie say that the story that does expand in the first film and expands and themes and messages. That's pretty much what Terminator 2 is. Yeah, I think Avatar: The Way of Water could be the Terminator 2 of our generation. I hope so. And then yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So that's all I have to say. Oh yeah, and of course the ending is really sad. I mean the ending really made me tear up. I mean just I'm sure you know what happens in the end. It's just really sad. And man, there's like so many iconic quotes as well. Like some of this movie that's a really good job of writing some really sharp dialogue. I mean you got lines hasta la vista baby and like Yeah, I mean, Hustler and Come If You Don't Want to Live. I mean, two of the most iconic quotes ever. I mean, you hear these like there are some like movies or TV shows where like they actually use the line like Hasta La Vista Baby, but Come If You Want to Live. It's like references so many other movies and TV shows. I mean, and once you hear that line, you immediately recognize it as a line from Terminator 2. Even those who didn't watch Terminator 2, I bet they even know the line because of how iconic it is. Of course, it'll be brought up somewhere, and yeah, um, so overall, Terminator 2: Judgment Day is a perfect movie. I mean, a perfect movie. Without a doubt. This is in my top 40 favorite movies of all time. Yes, I mean, there are better movies out there, but Terminator Judgment Day managed to do everything that's better than the first movie. And man, I wish this movie got a 100% of Rotten Tomatoes, just like the first movie. Yeah, this movie pretty much it's pretty familiar. It's kind of like, I mean, it has the same story as the first film, but I executed better. While actually expanding on the themes and messages of anxiety and mental illness, and that's some of the best work. It has some of the most iconic dialogue. There's some of the some epic performances, and this is a movie that will be remembered for generations. It's widely considered to be the greatest sequel of all time, and quite possibly the greatest action movie of all time. Like not by me personally, but yeah, and yes, indeed, people, this is the best James Cameron movie ever made. Period. And yeah, so yeah, with that said, Terminator 2: Judgment Day absolutely gets a 10 out of 10. Yeah, wish this movie got nominated for Best Picture. So that's all for my review of Terminator 2: Judgment Day. What is your opinion on Terminator 2: Judgment Day? Do you agree with me that this movie it is the best James Cameron movie ever made? Let's see if Avatar: The Way of Water can dethrone this as the best James Cameron movie. So yeah, comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review of Night at the Museum. Kamura Rises again. But I might make that review as a YouTube short, and stay tuned for my next James Cameron review, which is on True Lies. So yeah, bye guys.